Well, we're here at MnDOT Detroit Lakes because we are having an open house to let people know what we are doing and what we do here at MnDOT. So right now I'm going to talk to Les. Les works in our traffic area. And so Les, describe a little bit what you do here at MnDOT.
Well, we work with traffic signals and signing and pavement marking, and we do crash studies to see if we have locations where there are definite issues and how to fix them. And we do speed studies for counties, and we've done through the legislature was asked for a speed study for all our roads, and we just conducted most of it. We have 3 roads left, I think, in our district to change them from 55 to 60 miles an hour. So.
Very good. So I see a couple of things that you have. One is right behind us here. We have a traffic signal light. Explain a little bit how they work and what's the function.
Well, we usually have loops in the road. They're inductive coils that when some metallic object drives over them, it registers in a cabinet, and that activates, they call for a call to the controller. The controller then operates the signal heads in the right order so that we have traffic moving in an orderly fashion, I guess. Not running into each other. Each leg is given a right-of-way sequence for a while. And we have a technician that goes out and times them so that we try to make it each cycle lasts so long and give everybody a fair chance to make it through.
Very good. Now, a traffic signal is a type of intersection control. That will control all legs of the intersection. There's other types of intersection controls that we have around here in the area. One is a roundabout, and that's just where it's kind of explain a roundabout a little bit.
Well, a roundabout basically has a circle in the middle, and it has all the lanes of traffic coming to a point, and they take turns going around the circle. So nobody has to, like a 4-way stop, nobody stops completely necessarily unless there's somebody already in the circle. So it keeps people from having what they call for a right angle crash, where you'd run into the side of somebody else, because when they're going into the roundabout, they're already at an angle. So the worst accident would be like a fender bender or side sweep or something like that. And we have 3 of them in the district right now, putting in a 4th one this summer. And people are getting used to them, and they seem to like them, that they're fairly good for safety and able to navigate them without too many issues.
Very good. I see another prop in your hand, a slope meter. Tell me what that is about.
Well, this is for curves, and as we go around, we want to make sure that a person can traverse a curve safely. So we'll use this mechanism, and as you can see, as it pivots, the ball goes to a certain direction, and we have a table that we look at, and depending upon where the ball goes in as we drive around the circle, we can figure out what the speed should be for that safely. So if let's say the highway coming up to it's 55 or 60 miles an hour, and the indicator shows that it's maybe 45 is only the safe speed to go, then we'll put a sign on it to let drivers know that that's safe speed.
Very good. Well, thank you, Les. Okay, our next area we're with is business services. Jim, and we're James Schmidt. James, can you explain a little bit what business services is?
Sure. Business services, we are a multifunctional area. We do budgeting work, we procure goods and services, we manage the materials, we disperse materials, we also do accounting and accounts receivable functions for the district.
So, and you work in inventory.
Correct.
So explain really what, in inventory, what you're doing and how it helps the team of MnDOT here.
Inventory, as we're known, or better known as materials management section, we procure all the goods and services, and by procure I mean purchase. all the goods and services that our district needs to operate. We also maintain all those goods and disperse them. And at the end of this whole cycle, we also dispose of the excess goods that we have on hand.
And I see you have some examples of some items that we use and procure here in our materials management section.
Yes, we have I have road salt here. Everybody's familiar with this product. This is what we use to de-ice the highways. I also have some temporary striping tape for when they've just paved a road or put bituminous down, another fancy word. Bug spray. Everybody gets bugs in the summer in Minnesota. I have a brush because we need to clean stuff occasionally. Office supplies, and just a little example of how we dispose of some of the materials that we no longer need.
Very good. Thanks, James. Now we'll move on to our next table, and you can kind of see that there's a lot of different areas, but they all kind of come together to help us deliver our products and services for the state of Minnesota. Our next area is construction. I'm here with Dave. Explain a little bit what construction does.
Mike, we once the projects have come through the design phase, then the project is let out to a contractor for a bid, and a low bid contractor is awarded the project, and then the construction staff, we are out on the project and do the oversight and inspection to verify that projects are built correctly per specifications and in a timely manner.
Very good. And you can kind of see on the table we have a plan. And this is what the plan is, and that's kind of a set of instructions for the contractor to build from. Is that correct, Dave?
Correct. The plan contains plan sheets with all the estimated materials, quantity of materials that will be taken to construct the project. This particular plan here is the layout is right behind me for the roundabout project here in Detroit Lakes on Trunk Highway 59 and just south of town by the golf course. So our inspectors go through the project and they verify all these quantities as the construction takes place in the field.
Very good. Well, thank you, Dave. Okay, our next area is planning. Planning is at the very beginning of the process in our project development process. And here's Mary. Tell us a little bit what planning is and what you do.
Okay, planning, we're in charge of the budget for the construction projects. So we have the State Transportation Improvement Program, which is our 4-year construction program. We also do various plans with communities and on our different highways. We are also in charge of bike and pedestrian planning. So we have here's our state bike map. So we work with communities on complete streets, which means getting all modes planned for within our communities. And finally, we're involved in geographic information systems. So we're doing various maps for our scoping process. So really setting the stage for our future projects.
So some of these plans, how early are they done in relation to actually construction of a project?
We can be as far out as 20 years on a project. It just depends on the complexity, such as the project that was done in Detroit Lakes a few years ago, as far as realigning Highway 10. That took a lot of planning and needed to start very early.
Very good. The next section we have is design. And you heard a little bit about planning, which is really early on, looking at, trying to figure out what we want to do from a long-range perspective. And then we'll come up with, you also heard about the State Transportation Improvement Plan, or the STIP, which is a list of our projects. And then now we're talking to design, which is really kind of putting together the plan. We talked in construction where they're taking the plan and they build it and looking at the specifications, working with the contractor. Here we are talking with Nate Bosman in design, and hydraulics. Explain a little bit what the design and hydraulics does.
So like you said, we take the planning plan and get it ready for construction. So some of the steps that are involved with that are the actual layout itself that is shown right here. And this is what we bring to the public to get their review and approval on. And then also we make the plans like Dave showed earlier. And these include cross sections and other things that are required to construct the project.
Very good. And hydraulics, that's really the design of the drainage and how a project and the area is going to drain. Explain a little bit what you got here with how we look for hydraulics.
So what we have here is a remote control car that has a camera attached to it. And this camera is feeded into a video. And this is what we can look at to see if there are any defects within the culvert. So as you can see here, the camera can be moved around to see all parts of the culvert. And when we see a defect, we can make different decisions about how to fix that culvert.
Our next group we're talking to is project management. And they're basically overseeing the project as it's developed from early inception in the planning area all the way through construction. We're here with Tom Lundberg. Explain a little bit about project management and what you do.
So as a project manager, we get involved very early with our planners that you had talked to just a little while ago. And we're on the ground floor visiting with our stakeholders, cities, counties, people very early on, kind of setting the stage for what we're going to do on a project, getting funding figured out and kind of the major high-level things at the front end. As we get further along in the process there, we're getting more and more into the details as we go. So as we're getting closer, we're figuring out exactly what we're building. We're dealing with environmental agencies, with permitting issues and things like that. As we're getting closer near the end towards construction, we're bringing in our construction staff and others, making sure that the traffic control, the constructability, and how we're building things are making sense. And as we get out into the field, we have our set of staff out there that you've talked to already a little bit here that are specialized in that usually take care of a lion's share of the work. But as project managers, we're still involved at that stage as well with the project commitments that we've made and dealing with cities and counties and stakeholders through that end of the process. So we get to do all the fun stuff because we bring in all of the functional areas within MnDOT, some of our project partners and cities and counties and private entities all together through the process of developing a project, delivering and building it there. And so it's a lot of fun as far as dealing with all the different people, all the different entities to package everything together and get ourselves a nice road project when it's all done. So I think it's the best spot within MnDOT to be working.
Well, thank you, Tom. Explain a little bit when you're saying stakeholders. You know, we're looking at it on the table. It's a diagram of the new roundabout down at 59 and CASA 22 near the golf course. What kind of public involvement was there on this type of project?
So with this one, it's involving the county a lot because there's a county road into there. We've involved the Lake Association with Sally and Melissa. We're dealing with the city with the utilities and probably the private utilities out in the area. We're dealing with the public agencies as far as permitting with the watershed district, with the MPCA and things like that out there, all kind of coming together. And then, you know, through the public process, meeting with the people that are living in the area, explaining what we're doing as far as the project coming up, the details of roundabouts, because they're new in our area. To some extent, we've got one a little bit to the north at Willow, so it's not quite so new, but you know, some people, when we get up to this area, it's the first time they've seen one, so driving, it's always an educational thing in that aspect as well. So visiting with the locals and all the entities, like I said, it's one of the funner areas to work in within MnDOT because you're touching so many different people.
Very good. Thank you very much, Tom. We're here with Brian Bosman talking about right-of-way. Right-of-way is an area that when we have a project and we need some land to construct a project, our right-of-way area takes care of that. What's kind of the overall right-of-way process, and what do you do at MnDOT here?
Well, this, I don't know if you want to get this on here. This Shows this is a parcel sketch that shows different types of land acquisition. The yellow area on this one is showing temporary easement acquisition, where that's where we use property on a temporary basis. And the green area on this one is showing permanent land acquisition, so that's where we take property and acquire it and own it permanently for the highway.
Our next area we're looking at is materials. Materials is an area that, one is they do the planning or the design for the pavement, so what the people are driving on, they're designing the pavement, how thick it is, what kind of material it's made out of. And also our materials area, and they have a laboratory, they do the testing. So you heard some of the things in construction where they're looking at and trying to make sure the materials and meet the requirements of the specifications. Part of that process is on the materials in the materials lab. And here with Dave. Dave, tell us a little bit about what you do here at MnDOT and really what the materials lab does here.
Well, what I do at MnDOT, I do a lot of the soil borings and get the cores on the road, especially with the older construction. We're going to come in for new construction. I'll come out and take samples so we can see what's going on with the pavement. I'll also do soil borings and see what's in the ground for as far as class 5s, clay loams, what's underneath there. If there's a problem in the road, what's causing that problem. Okay, and then the lab itself does a lot of testing of the materials. They'll run a gradation on the class 5s and make sure it's meeting that spec. They'll make a puck out of bituminous, and they'll do some tests with that to check for air content, oil content, gradation, to make sure we're getting what we're paying for.
Very good. Can you explain a little bit about some of the tests that are run on like concrete or bituminous?
Okay, for bituminous, we'll do a rice test, a puck test. We'll make these pucks in the lab, and we'll actually do a dry weight, a water weight, and an SSD weight, and it'll come up with an air void. And most of the projects, we're looking for a certain air void, depending on the traffic level and stuff like that. As far as other tests, concrete tests, we'll actually break a cylinder to make sure it's making compression tests. So we'll actually put this in the machine and put pressure to it and see what it breaks at, so we can make sure it's making the right spec for the project.
Very good. And basically what we're measuring is the strength of those the materials, either the bituminous or the concrete, to see if it meets the specifications and be able to last as long as we are designing it to last.
Yes.
Thank you, Dave. Our next area we're at is surveys. Surveys kind of is another cog in our project development process. We're here with Jeremy Erickson. Jeremy, please explain a little bit what surveys is and what you do here at MnDOT.
Okay. Well, surveys is really one of the first areas that starts working on a project after we determine we're going to do it. So we're out doing design surveys and determining what's in the field and what we're going to do. This is what's in place out there. And then we're the last ones out there with the construction people, putting the stakes in the ground, telling the contractor where to build the road and how to build it.
Very good. We all heard a little bit earlier about the purchasing of our right-of-way or the property we need for a project. You also do land surveys. Explain a little bit what land surveys is.
Okay, yes, we also do the land surveying. Land surveys is determining, what MnDOT owns and what we need to buy. So we're define the section corners, determine where we're going to buy land.
Very good. Now behind you here is what's this piece of equipment that we have right behind you?
This is one of the newest pieces of equipment we have. It's called an SX10 scanning total station. The SX10 is it does all the things that are traditional total station, which is it gets us our elevation, gets us our coordinate on the ground where we are, but it also has the capability of scanning a point cloud, and it's a newer technology where that thing can actually shoot 3,600 points per second. And we did a scan earlier of our building here, and we got about 3.5 million points in about 10 minutes. And with that point cloud, we can do our design work, very detailed design work.
And that point cloud, it's just a series of points, in 3 dimensions. So it has an X and a Y, and also a Z or elevation. Is that correct?
That is correct, Mike.
Now we're talking to our maintenance area. Maintenance is kind of as the word says, maintains our roads from winter snow and ice, so clearing of the roads during snowstorms, to patching the roads during the summer, to guardrail repair, mowing. And I'm here with Joe Stegmeyer, our maintenance superintendent. Joe, explain a little bit what you do at MnDOT and what we have behind us here.
Well, at MnDOT, we plow the roads, we patch them, we do any maintenance needed to be out there. We take care of all the vegetation along the highways. From right-of-way to right-of-way, maintenance takes care of anything that goes on. Some of the equipment we have out here today is we have a tractor with a guardrail mower on it, tractor with a snow blower on it. We have our large snow go. We have a blade, a broom, our standard plow truck, and then we have over on the other side we have a tandem axle truck with a herbicide spray unit in it for the summer. So some of our trucks double as say a sprayer in the summer and a plow truck in the winter. Same thing with our mowers, our tractors. They have snow blowers on them in the summer or winter. Summertime they'll pull mowers. Some of them have loaders on them. We try to get multiple use out of all our stuff.
Very good. Earlier we were talking to inventory and they purchased salt, and you use the salt. Can you tell us a little bit how much salt do you use in an average winter?
In an average winter we'll use about 13,000 tons over our whole district, which includes 17 counties, from Mahnomen down to Appleton, over to Wadena, Alexandria. So it's a big territory, but that's our average salt usage.
And then we have a couple of plows that are out here, snow plows. How many snow plows do we have in District 4?
We have 61 snow plows, and we also have 6 reserves. So if we have several broke down, we put a reserve out on the road. But 61 is our basic number of plow routes.
And do we cover 24 hours a day for snow and ice control?
Basically, we'll cover 24 hours a day if needed. Normally, we'll cover 16 hours, and we'll be shut down a little while in the midnight to 2-3 in the morning. We'll have the trucks off the road. Unless it's heavy snow continuously, then we'll run 24 hours. Very
good. Okay, now we're moving into a different area, and it's kind of more on a support side, but it's facilities. Facilities, as you're looking, we've got the building behind us, so we're here with Nick Elijah. Explain a little bit what facilities is and what they do.
In our district, we have 17 truck stations, a couple rest areas, the Red River Scale. We go around and maintain the boilers, heating systems, air conditioning systems, lighting, air handlers, and we do pretty much everything as far as maintaining garage doors and building exteriors.
So similar, if you're a homeowner, you would take care of doing any kind of painting or new windows, or a garage door gets stuck, you're out there fixing those things.
Yep, maintaining, yep.
And what type of equipment do you kind of use to do that kind of work?
Well, we have our hand tools, and like you see in the back, our JLG, our articulating boom lift, and scissor lifts, and drills, saws.
Very good. Well, now we're here with our mechanics and really fleet management. And we're here with Terry and Ryan, and they're a couple of our mechanics, and they're the people responsible for maintaining all our equipment. And Joe talked a little bit about what the equipment does. We have plows that go out, and we have the number of plows, but these are the guys that will make sure that those plows are in running order and able to go out when the call comes in, so they can go out at 6 in the morning or 4 in the morning to make the roads safe for people to travel on in the winter, and also maintain the roads during the summer. Terry, explain a little bit what you do here at MnDOT and in fleet and as a mechanic.
Oh, pretty much whatever breaks. There's a big variety of what we do. Could be anywhere from the electronics or tires or the heavy stuff, welding, fabricating. It's a whole variety, and it's interesting. Keeps the guy not bored, that's for sure.
Very good. We use the word mechanic, but when you look at these new vehicles and When I open the hood of my car, I can't really see the ground anymore. I mean, we're in the old days, you could crawl into them, but there's a lot more electronics on these and almost computers. You guys are really, really into the computer end of the things and electronics. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, it's when you plug in to diagnose or whatever, you can have 6 to 8 computers show up on your screen, and there may be some that I'm not even counting here, forgetting about. But yeah, it's really, this particular unit here is a wireless outfit. So yeah, there's a lot of tech involved, and we got a lot of training to try and keep up with it or get a grip on it, and stuff. But
so when you're saying wireless, this is in the truck or the vehicle or the equipment and it's communicating without wires. It's just over like a radio signal or something.
Correct. Yeah.
Anything to add, Ryan?
Well, basically, like the company just gave us this joystick, but you'd have to wire that up into the machine and back and forth to communicate. Well, to make it easier, they basically eliminated it, and one of our mechanics wired this whole board up to communicate with the wireless controller, so they can just grab that and go sit in there and turn it on and run every function they need to.
And this controller is, what kind of equipment would this go on?
This would go on a front end loader. It's a mower for getting into the really tough areas for ditches, mowing bridges and everything, so people don't have to get out there and mow. They can use this special mower to do it.
Very good. Now we're going to talk to Parrish, explain a little bit about what's inside a cab of a snowplow truck to get people a little familiar with all that's going on inside there as the driver is out there clearing snow and ice.
Okay, this is this here is on the inside of a snowplow truck from the Department of Transportation, and in the cab we have our controls here for the hydraulics and the plow. And we have an underbody scraper on the truck, and then we also have a wing for removing the snow from the road. And then we also have a screen here that helps us control the sander on a truck. We can put down a liquid brine along with our salt, and we can set so many pounds of salt per lane mile, and that's all displayed on this screen. And then we also have another AVL screen that helps us with, it has an onboard radar, and it also has recommendations for applying chemical to the road, and very, very helpful in making decisions on removing snow and ice from the road. And then we also have our two-way radio that we communicate back and forth with on, and we also have our control panel here with strobe lights for safety, and we have wing and underbody lights to help us navigate through the night and the snowstorms.
Well, thank you for coming out with us today at MnDOT and looking at exactly what we do here. And you saw a lot of different equipment, from the big trucks and vehicles behind me to remote control cars to just computer equipment, survey equipment. It all is part of trying to put together and help maintain and operate our transportation system for the citizens of Minnesota. I appreciate you coming out, and thank you very much for spending the time with us.